Gentlemen, we are live and welcome to tonight's NASCAR 08 Craftsman Truck Series race number 7 of 25 at the Toyota Raceway. Back at this track yet again. It is a fantasy short track, and we did race here actually last week with the Busch Series in a 300-lap event. This one here today, a very short 200-lap race to get onwards into this season and obviously through the rest of the week, which we will have nothing but NASCAR 08 content on the channel. Going to be starting at the rear of the field here for this one. Again, qualifying seems to be broken in this game. No practice, no qualifying for this race either. And as far as how the truck should feel, I would imagine it will be pretty quick. Bristol was very good for me. Ended up winning the Cup race, ended up winning the Busch race there. Even though the Cup race actually came down to the wire last night with Martin Truex Jr. and our driver for that season, Casey Kane. Truck Series race, obviously, we haven't raced at a short track other than Martinsville, and we finished second in that race. Looking to see what we'll do here with Mike Skinner. We come in with a 64-point lead through the first 6 of 25 races. Only 18 races to go in the season after this. And remember, for the Truck Series, it is a season-long points format. So without further ado, let's get underway here in this one tonight. I really don't know why my driving controls keep changing on me every race. It just started doing that last night. Caught it a little quicker this time, but still a slow start. Johnny Benson won the pole for this event and leads the opening lap of the race. We were able to go about 150 laps right around there on fuel at Red Bull Raceway in the Busch race. So I would imagine we'll be able to go around there for the truck event as well. Should easily be a one-stopper. Even if we couldn't go quite 150 laps like we could in the Busch Series, I still expect it to be one stop. It seems like the banked short tracks I'm good at. The flatter ones not as good. That's what I've gathered, at least. A little contact with the 117 truck. Nothing major. Slowly picking him up and putting him down. There's the second place driver in the point standings, the 99 truck of Eric Darnell, who again we're racing for in the early season championship fight. He's back in traffic. It'll be interesting to see if he's able to get his way through the field. A little contact. Second time we made contact with another truck. Already up to 13th. Probably got the fastest truck in the field here, which by far was the case in the Busch race at Toyota Raceway. If you're wondering why this track is familiar, but you don't know what the Toyota Raceway is, this was the Red Bull Raceway on the older EA games that we played on the channel before NASCAR 08. Already up to 8th here for the 5. Johnny Benson's led every lap so far. Now up to 7th for Skinner. Just behind former champion Travis Quapple. Move to the inside of Quapple. Clear off turn 4. Looking to the outside to try to make the pass on Chad McCumbee. That's not going to work out very well. Now we're 3 wide middle. Give the spot right back up to Quapple again, crossing him over. Still ran our fastest lap of the race there. Self-clear off turn 2. .362 that last lap, fastest lap of the race. string of short track races continues tomorrow night. I did put the streaming schedule up for the next few days from tonight through Friday. Be racing at Martinsville again, but this time it'll be in the Cup Series. And it'll be a 50% race, only 250 laps tomorrow evening. Same start time as tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern. 15 laps complete. Already up to 4th. Johnny Benson's really pulling away, though. Our lone teammate in the Truck Series. Wade, thanks for tuning in. I was wondering if anybody was in the chat yet. I was about to refresh the page. I didn't see anybody at the moment. Till now. Still 2 seconds off the lead. Getting a run on corner exit with this 190 truck, but he's blocking the bottom. Leaving the outside open. So I'm just using that to try to arc the corners off a little more. And now we beat him down to the inside into turn 3. Using a little bit of that apron, trying to give us more spacing. And up to 3rd. Up to 2nd. Now we're up to 2nd, clear after a bit of contact through 3 and 4, door to door at the 134 truck. So 2.5 off the lead. 14.309 that last lap. Fastest lap of the race again here for Skinner as the track has opened up quite a bit. It's opened up more for himself right now than it has at any other point in the race. .225 is our fastest lap. We were running some 13.5s in the Cup race at Bristol yesterday at a half-mile racetrack. .2s in a Truck Series race here. That's pretty darn quick. Now 14.126. Running him down within 0.8 of a second of the lead now. You get to the lead, it's going to be very difficult to beat Mike Skinner. Kind of expected that coming into the race anyway. Slowly creeping. Interested to see who's going to get through lap traffic better. Usually on the short tracks, I get through lap traffic better than everybody else. I tend to struggle a bit more on the intermediates. It's like mini Mainsfield. Well, Mainsfield was a pretty small track. It's practically Mainsfield, yeah. Actually, did put Mainsfield in the thumbnail because of that. A lot of contact. Saw some 3 wide racing at the back of the pack. A couple trucks still running pretty tight together. Skinner has ran down his teammate Johnny Benson for the lead. And as we get closer to lap traffic, Skinner's going to dive and look for the lead. Bottom of the track, turns 1 and 2. Hooks the white line. And clear. And he's going to get by a lap truck as well. And we got more smoke. As if we nearly had another accident off of turn 2. Towards the back portion of the field. Not this group of trucks in front of me, but it looked like the group ahead of them. Slight nudge to the 117, nothing major there. Time to go to work in case we have to pit a little earlier than everybody else. Oh. The 164 car is moving on your right side. 164 truck wasn't giving me any room. Contacting a couple corners back to back. Got fireworks this weekend after the hockey games. In the wintertime, that's something else. Hopefully it's not too brutally cold. Wow, big trail of smoke. Again, right in the middle of 3 and 4. Didn't exactly see that, but we saw the aftermath of it. Contact with the back of the 101. 40 laps in already. Caution free. A slide job with that 3-wide pass. Carry too much speed on entry when I have the left side tires just below the white line. It's the only time we're really seeing the car, or truck I should say, slide. Billy Kramer, welcome to the stream also. Oh boy. I got a little loose hitting him. I hit him pretty square in the middle of the straightaway too. Lap traffic is definitely not cutting us any favors today. Every single one of these trucks seems to be a handful to try to pass. Contact again. Back up the corner, undercut them, and make the 3-wide pass. Got them both in the rear view yet again. I held up a little bit. We had about a 2-second lead down to a 1.5 seconds. Really fires off the corners really well. AI's had a tendency to kind of slide up the racetrack on entry when I'm on the outside. But then they kind of cover the bottom in a tight fashion where I can't really run the traditional racing line. I have to have the left sides just below the apron just to keep from making contact. 1.3 second lead now, so Johnny Benson seemingly starting to get through lap traffic a little bit better than us over the last several laps. Not quite halfway out of gas yet, so yeah, definitely a one-stopper, which I expected anyways. Speaking of which, just hit halfway out of gas at lap 54, about to get to lap 55 at the time that happened. Winter Carnival with snow statues. Yeah, they do that in the town I used to live in. And have a bunch of ice sculptures, like downtown, basically every winter. I don't know who exactly made them. I don't know if it was some sort of like a carnival or festival too, like you're talking, where artists would just basically come in and put them on display. I don't know how the organization of that went about, but pretty neat to see. They lasted quite a bit too. Oh man, that was a big stack up. It's not our fault there. The two trucks in front of us got hung up on one another, and we hit the back of the first truck in line. Now the lead's down under a second. College students make them where you do? Yeah, I don't think that's the case for me, because there isn't a college in that town, so I'd be shocked if it was like a local community college or something from another town. They're gigantic too. I mean, they're basically life size. Well, depends on what they're doing. They're human size. Pretty impressive, really. Excuse me. Oof. This guy is holding me up. Both of them. Look at that. I mean, they just do not give me room. Sliding down on the apron. Now we're clear. Took a little too long for my liking. Yeah, I knew he wasn't going to give me room. Tell you what, every last one of these lap trucks tries to block, or even if we get underneath them, they squeeze us. Do my best to keep this thing clean. Definitely don't want to cause a wreck. Easy to do in this game, as we've seen several times over. Ready for the Super Bowl this weekend? You as a Chiefs fan, I can see that. I don't know it. I don't know. Oh boy. Oh boy. This is the same thing that happened around us earlier in the race. Two trucks getting hung up on one another, and again, we just don't get enough room on the bottom. Granted, we were 3 wide that time. Skinner eventually makes the pass. Almost a 2-second lead again. There's definitely been some sketchy moments around us in these first 75 laps. Game muted? No. I made sure to unmute it. You have to let me know in the chat if the game audio is working or not. Might have to reset OBS. Or at least the video capture on OBS. I definitely remember hitting the unmute button because it's always muted usually from the night before. Get to the main menu after the race and it's music playing. I don't want to get copyrighted for it. Getting close to the first and only pit stop right around the halfway mark. We're 20 laps away from 50% of the way home. Very quick race, quick stream tonight. We'll have the 50% Cup race tomorrow. And then we go to Texas for back-to-back streams with the Busch race on Thursday night and the Cup race on Friday evening. Earlier start on Friday with that being a 500-mile race. We'll go 5 p.m. Eastern. Plus, I'll be home in plenty of time to do that. This is about as early as I can start more often than not. I had to get gas after work today, too, so that took a little time. It's always busy at the gas station around my work. It doesn't matter which one I go to. I always try to go to the same fuel mart because their gas is a little bit cheaper, and I'd imagine there's a lot of other people. That, and it's the closest one to where I live on I-75 also. The closest one from there. There's another one on the way back, I guess, a little closer, but it's the one closest to my work of the 4 or 5 gas stations that are around that specific area. And they got the cheapest gas, so. Even the Loves that usually charges like almost 10 cents more every single time is always packed too. Slow truck bottom of the track, the 126. That's the first driver that I've noticed blowing an engine so far this evening. 3.5 second lead for Skinner, his largest lead of the race now. Oh boy, bit of a power slide, drove it in really deep and really flat, trying to make sure I was going to clear that truck and wasn't going to be 3 wide again. That 3, every time we've been 3 wide, seems like we make contact nearly every time. Just trying to avoid that. Barely did. Gonna go a few laps past lap 100 because I know we can do that. Try to avoid being the first car to pit road just in case we get a caution that could ruin our race. It's happened before. Another slow truck. I don't think that was a scheduled pit stop either. Wasn't sure exactly who that was. You know, the first truck out was the 126. Almost a 5-second lead for Mike Skinner in the number 5. Checking up behind the 164 again. Not many trucks left on the lead lap, only 8 of them. TJ Bell is the most closest lead lap car to us. At the back of the pack in 8th. The 164 car is making a move now. Yeah, that truck never left pit road, by the way, a handful of laps ago when they came down. I expected, because it was before halfway, that it definitely wasn't a scheduled stop, and I was right on that. Kind of staying right at about a 5-second lead for a little bit now. This next lap truck we're trying to pass, and covering the top, covering the bottom, we're going to get by him. Finally. That might have been TJ Bell. I'm not entirely sure. I don't really remember what paint scheme he had the last time we ran the truck series. I'm going to hit pit road this time. I don't want to risk running out of gas. And we've got at least one other truck pitting as well. Kind of babied it into the pits, but that's all right. No adjustments, 4 tires on a full tank of Sunoco race fuel for Mike Skinner. Yeah, so the game audio is not muted. I just double-checked on that. Like I mentioned, if other people are experiencing the same problem, let me know. Work till 2 on Sunday. Oh, yeah, you'll get home way before the game starts. It's a lot of rubber buildup on that white truck. Not going to be a lap down because Johnny Benson, who retook the lead for a brief moment, is on pit road as we stand. Along with almost the entire rest of the field. Nothing but a clean racetrack now for Skinner. Lap 108, he will retake the race lead. And the lead has dwindled quite a bit. Oh, just got hit by the lap truck up the racetrack. What a stop by Johnny Benson, even with Skinner pitting 1 lap before the 23. Benson's gone from almost 5 seconds off the lead to just 1 second back as we still have 90 laps to go. This time by at the line. Still caution-free. We have had a couple of caution-free truck races. Only one of them was a 100% race, though, and that was Daytona to start the season. And we've seen several near incidences in this race. So I'm definitely not guaranteeing anything. The other 3 races to go caution-free were all 50% races. Four of them total. We've already ran through all of our 50% races on the truck schedule as well. Still just a 1 second lead for Mike Skinner. So 1 truck in front of him. Truck not giving him a lot of room. Left side tires down on the white line. Past me clearly and cleanly. Ryan Berwig, welcome into the stream. Slightly fresher tires and a clean racetrack now, with clean air in front of us at least, trying to see if we can put down our fastest lap of the race. 14.126 real early in the going. I believe that was back when we were in second place, before we had caught Johnny Benson for the first time. Only a couple of lead changes, and the only 2 drivers to lead today is Benson and Skinner. 10.5 a tenth on several laps over the last few. Still can't get it. Oh, we got it that time. There we go. 14.115. Beat it by about 11 1/1000ths of a second. Speaking of fastest lap, I did see the NASCAR news earlier. They're going to be awarding a point to the fastest lap of the race. Now, I'm not sure if that's only for the Cup Series or if that's across all 3 series. It's interesting, and I feel like the fans are split on it. Me, personally, I don't like it with the current playoff format. And the reason why I say that is because with the amount of elimination races that we have right now, I could see it already where we have a late race restart. Somebody takes tires in a situation where they don't get a lot of track position. They're a couple points to the negative, and they end up, let's just say they're 1 point back, final lap of the race. They don't pass anybody, but they ran their quickest lap of the day on the last lap, and then they get in, and we wouldn't know that until quite a bit after the checkered flag falls. So I could see that happening already. I know it's kind of a rare thing to happen, but it is a hard stat line to follow, especially if TV isn't showing it most of the time through the race. The benefit with that, for our streams at least on the live commentary side of things, is the fact that we can actually see all the lap times. So on our live coverage, we'll actually have a better read of it, I think, than the actual TV broadcast. So I guess it gives us an extra talking point during the course of those live commentary streams. Especially on a super speedway, you can definitely lag behind and run a fastest lap at some point real late in the race. That'll be easier there than every other kind of racetrack. And obviously we have 2 of them in the current playoffs. Well, only 1 now. We had 2 last year, but Atlanta's got both dates in the regular season again. Only Dega will be the lone playoff race. And that's in the round of 8, too, so that is going to be interesting. That will be the shows adding college teams. That's pretty cool. Taking a page out of NBA 2K. I see. Oh, man, big stack up. Somebody must have made contact off turn 4 in front of us, because I'm trying to figure out why I just passed 4 trucks there. Just randomly slowed up off the corner, and that was even with me making contact with one of them. Pause it for a quick second so I can get a drink. Man. I had to mute the mic, too. I felt that coming. There we go. A little parched. Not gonna lie. Just got over the my battle with laryngitis there a couple weeks ago. I got that stinging feeling in my throat again. I woke up with it this morning. About an hour before my alarm came off, I kind of noticed it while I was laying in bed still. I've kind of had a dry cough like all day. Ridiculous. I've probably been, sick or borderline sick more times in the last couple months than what I've probably been in the last 5 years combined. I rarely get sick. And if I'm coming down with like strep throat or something again, this is literally going to be the 3rd time I've been sick since Thanksgiving. Literally during the entire NASCAR offseason. I'm one for like only getting sick like once every few years. My allergies are pretty bad in the spring, but that's not sick. That's just a seasonal thing for me. That lingers on through like the early part of the summer too. Oh boy, truck behind us went way wide. See some smoke. Maybe the lap before as well. I wonder if it's going to be a road to the show thing with the college teams, kind of like NBA, where it's like only on your career mode. I think that's the way it is, at least. Maybe they've changed it a little bit. I know that's how it used to be. I haven't played a 2K NBA game in a minute. I think 19 was the last one I had. The last time the Pistons had a competent team. He's made the playoffs that year. Blake Griffin, Derrick Rose, Andre Drummond. That's fun going to a few games that season. Even though a couple of those guys were kind of past their prime, it was still cool to see them all playing on the same team. We had a miniature super team there for one season. About a season and a half, because they lingered into the next year, and then they weren't doing so hot. They ended up just trading away Derrick Rose and Blake Griffin at the trade deadline. Then I think they shipped Drummond the next year. Or maybe they shipped Drummond, too, that season. I might be a little bit off of that. It's been a minute since I've watched basketball. I've watched March Madness the last several years still when that comes around, but as far as NBA, I used to go to games all the time, too. Through high school and just after high school, I was going to Pistons games a lot. Not as many as I was Tigers games, but I was probably going to more Pistons games than what I was Red Wings just because the price of the tickets were cheaper. I could sit closer and it was more affordable. Which is ridiculous because it's the same building in Little Caesars Arena. You would think they'd be similar in price, but something about the Detroit Red Wings, man, they play the same amount of games in a season, too, so it really doesn't make any sense. The Red Wings weren't even a playoff team that year, and I went to more Pistons games because they were more affordable, and the Pistons made the playoffs, so it just didn't make any sense to me why the Red Wings tickets are so expensive. I get they're the bigger sports franchise in the city of Detroit, but I mean, if the team's not performing like it, I don't know why you still jack the ticket prices up. You can have the argument, well, it was a newer stadium at the time, but again, the basketball tickets weren't like that, though. I sat behind one of the baskets, like 15 rows up for a playoff game that year. $60 for a first round NBA playoff game. That seems cheap. To be 15 rows from the court. Random weeknight games. I mean, there was a couple times I was within the first 10 rows behind the baskets. It was so much cheaper to sit closer to the court there. You sit second level, like right at center court for basically the same price. 40 to 60 bucks usually is what it ran me. Which can be expensive, but for sitting that close, that's really inexpensive in my eyes. Back to a 4.5-second lead, almost our largest lead of the race. Just 45 laps to go here at the Toyota Raceway. Dominating race here for our Toyota Tundra, Mike Skinner, so it's only fitting we take a Toyota to victory lane at the Toyota Raceway. I mean, that would just make too much sense. A little bit of a clean track in front of us for the moment. We're looking to have our 5th caution-free race in these first 7 already. And it would be the second for a 100% race. They actually just ran our fastest lap that last time, 14.107. Not sure where I pulled that out of. Middle of the tire stint. About as quick as we were in the Busch Series at Bristol. This is a half-mile short track as well. I do feel like this track, even in the older EA games prior to NASCAR 08, always raced quicker than Bristol also. Just want to see what the trucks are going to race like at Bristol. We haven't raced them there yet. They only have one date later in the summer. Michael Turner, thanks for tuning in. Good evening to you as well. Really hoping this stays green. Last thing I want to do is deal with a restart. Give a chance for Mike Skinner to give up this big lead. Big or decent sized gap. Big for this point in the race, really. Especially with it being a short track. How many NASCAR races am I going to this year? I'm looking at 6 of them. Looking at COTA, Talladega, Michigan, Bristol Night, probably the Brickyard 400, and then there's going to be another race somewhere in there I'm going. I'd like it to be Phoenix for the championship again, but that's kind of up in the air right now as to whether that would be the case or not. If it's not Phoenix, it'll be a different track. And I'm not going to any of the standalone Xfinity or truck races either. There's only a few of them, and none of them are anywhere around where I live. Unfortunately, long gone are the days of Eldora and mid-Ohio. If I go to the Brickyard 400, there is a possibility I'll go to IRP for the truck race that weekend. .4 second lead for Skinner. It's dropped down a little bit. It was 4.8 seconds. 33 laps to go still. Got quite a few people watching. Greatly appreciate that. 16 likes. Let's try to get that up to 25 before the end of the stream here, as we have just over 30 to go. Very quick race tonight with it being a short track with the truck series. even with it being a 100% race. And we'll run 250 laps at Martinsville tomorrow for the Cup side. At 6 p.m. Eastern will be our next stream. For those of you wondering, you can look in the community tab for the streaming schedule from now through Friday night. For the racetracks, we'll be racing as at the series as well. We'll be racing as we have a bit of contact there between these two lap trucks in front of us. Didn't have to check up. They were far enough ahead of us, and by the time they got back up to speed again, we weren't quite to them. But definitely don't want to see a caution at this point so late in this race, especially with kind of trading lap times back and forth, basically, with Johnny Benson, who's still in second. Chad McCumbee, I know I'm a little late to it. Over 70 laps ago, he blew an engine, but he was the second driver that blew up today. There's a third driver out of the race as well, which I didn't even realize till just now. I'm noticing 3 of them on the track map that are just sitting on pit road. Only 4 trucks are on the lead lap through this caution-free race, but still only a 5-second lead over the second-place truck of Johnny Benson. Big run for the 151. Going to make the pass. Turns 3 and 4. Just over a 5-second lead with 24 laps to go. Left rear giving way a little bit. We'll see the left front soon follow. Travis Quapple is in third, and then the fantasy driver Noah Howe is in fourth. Benson obviously in second. More smoke off turn 2. They've nearly wrecked a couple times in the last few laps. Hopefully we don't get anybody that's going to have severe damage and we get a debris caution late, as well as a potential wreck. That's very well possible. Smoke's still settling. Keep it clean, boys. 20 to go. I think the Walmart truck in the 101 is who I see on pit road. I haven't seen it on the leaderboard at the top of the screen. It's harder for me to pay attention to that compared to you guys just watching at home. Especially when I'm on a short track or a road course. Yeah, it is the 101 of Carswell, who I believe won the second race of the year in California, if memory serves me correctly. A lot of traffic in front of Skinner. Luckily, he's got a 6-second lead, so there's not going to be a lot of urgency to pass everybody. Definitely want to hope that there isn't going to be another massive checkup or a wreck of some sort in front of us, because we might not have anywhere to go. This is probably the heaviest the lap traffic's been the whole race. Look at this mess. Interval-wise, we really don't know where the third and fourth place trucks are compared to us. We just know the distance between first and second. No more contact there. Oh. Little brush. Watching that 116 truck just sail up the track into turn 3, too. Banging our way through. One more truck and we got through all that mess. I don't know if any of them were Noah Howe. I wasn't really paying attention. They were all fantasy trucks, though, so I definitely didn't get up to Travis Quapple. I didn't notice a 6 in there at all. It matters because if we get a late caution, those will be the 4 in contention for the win on a late race single file restart. With 10 laps to go right now at the line, if we were to catch a caution, it would be single file. See here, Benson, Quaffle, yeah, Howe's still on the lead lap. Bit of a power slide for ourselves getting into turn 3. It's kind of more in the middle line on entry. Truck didn't like that much. 66 fan, thanks for tuning in. Sparko Racer, also welcome to the stream. .4 seconds ahead. Yeah, this is just a dominating race today. I figured it was going to be that way coming in. It was just going to be a matter of really, were we going to see any cautions? When were they going to be? And 7 laps ago, we just haven't had one to bunch the field back up. Although green flag pit stops made things a little tight. What was a 5-second lead got narrowed down to a 1-second lead. But now he starts to back up over 8 seconds, which is the largest lead of the race for Mike Skinner. And again, only 4 trucks are on the lead lap. So we look to finish our 5th caution-free race in the first 7 on the truck schedule, but we have not had a single one in either the Cup or the Busch Series through just a few less races than what we've ran here on the truck side of things. I think it's just because the speeds are significantly slower in this series compared to the Busch and the Cup Series, and I just don't think they wreck as much because of it. A little bit of contact doesn't seem to really affect the other trucks as much. They'll slow them down, but they won't completely wreck like they do in the other series. That's what I've gathered information-wise in this game so far. Two to go this time by. Just got to get to that white flag. Feels plenty good to the end. Just went to a 1/4 tank of gas left. Or about 1/8 of a tank, actually, but still good. Plenty in it for the burnout, as it is going to be well-deserved. Max points day for Mike Skinner, who again came in with a 64-point lead, entering this race over Eric Darnell, so that will extend. And I believe this is going to be the 4th win of the season for Mike Skinner. I'd have to fact-check myself here after the checkered flag falls. It's been a minute since the last truck race. Green flag turns to checker. No cautions yet again here. And only 49 minutes and 37 seconds to finish this race. Might be the quickest full truck race we've ever ran on the channel. Yeah, buddy. Not a lot of smoke in the burnout. Excuse me. Second time I've coughed on the mic. Apologize. I did catch myself the one time I was able to mute it. Yeah, our only teammate Johnny Benson still finished in second. We're the only 2 drivers to lead any laps. We led 166, and Benson from the pole led for 34 laps. 3 lead changes. We passed him once, then he got us back during green flag pit stops, and we obviously cycled back as the leader after the fact, so those were the only lead changes of the race. Noah Howe actually did pass Travis Quapple in the closing laps for 3rd, so Quapple finished 4th, last truck on the lead lap. And he had George Teague in 5th, DJ Bell 6th, Craig Kinzer in 7th, D. Johnson 8th, Eric Darnell 9th, who again was 2nd in points, so he still had a good day despite no bonus points. And Zach Van Dyke rounds out the top 10. And a lot of fantasy drivers up there, which granted in the truck series on this game, there are way more fantasy drivers than actual drivers. 3 DNFs, Spencer Carswell, Chad McCumbee, and Gene Tingen. Is that Jeff Tingen? Can't remember what his name is. I remember some of the fantasy drivers, but not all of them. A lot of them have actually changed names from one game to the other. Some of them have stayed the same. I think a couple of them are actually in like a completely different car or a different series. So, yeah, that's all kind of changed a little bit. 128.86 mile per hour average race speed, 7.7 margin of victory, 7.7 seconds. And again, 49 minutes, 37 seconds was all this race took here today. Yeah, it was a quick one. But that is going to wrap up our stream for tonight. A quick one on a work night for me, but we will be back again tomorrow. We'll be Cup racing at Martinsville. Start time for that one again is going to be 6 p.m. Eastern, same as tonight. And it will be a 50% race, our second one on the Cup side. So it'll just be 250 laps. So kind of the length, of about a truck or a bush race for tomorrow. And not as good on the flatter short tracks on this game, at least at Martinsville in the Truck Series. We finished second, really didn't have anything for the leader. Looking back on it, we did lead 45 laps, but Noah Howe was able to get the win that day. We didn't run there in the Bush race, or Bush Series, and so it'll just be our second trip to the track. I believe at the lap sled that we had today, it's going to get us to exactly 400 lap sled on the Truck Series season. Average finish will now be just below 4.5. And yes, this was our fourth win of the year, so I did have that stat correct as we went to finish things up. So thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good rest of your Tuesday night, and I'll see you back at Better Than Ever again tomorrow. Be sure to hit the like button again on the stream if you haven't done so yet as we tune out. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. NASCAR weight coverage continues onward until we get to the Daytona 500 pole qualifying next Wednesday night on the channel. We're just a week away from Speed Week here on KRC. And again, see you guys tomorrow night. Have a good one.